Most of the pictures we have seen of Isaiah Thomas have basically been that. Him there, he's playing one-on-one against Coach Phil Handy, or Isaiah in the layup line, Isaiah in a sweatsuit. There was one that Isaiah posted online of him dunking a basketball to show he's healthy. But finally, when the Cavs play in Boston on Wednesday night, Isaiah gets to play for the Cavs. So, you know, a lot of times everybody always wants to give grades to trades. How does this trade look? Well, as you recall, Kyrie-Irving actually started this whole deal when, after the draft, he basically demanded to be traded somewhere. And one of the most unfortunate things for the Cavs was that he waited until after the draft, because had they done this before the draft, it would have given the Cavs more options and where to trade him, and maybe they could have come up with Paul George or somebody else like that in the deal. In fact, I do know this for a fact, that about a week and a half before the draft, the Cavaliers turned down a trade with Indianapolis. The Pacers were willing to send Paul George to the Cavaliers for Kyrie-Irving. David Griffin was the general manager at the time, and Irving had not asked for a trade. And furthermore, as Griffin later told me, his goal was to get Paul George and pair him up with Kyrie-Irving. It wasn't to trade Irving at that point, because they didn't know that he was going to be gone. So anyway, that trade wouldn't have been happened, but had Irving requested a trade, that very well might have been a deal, and Paul George possibly could have been here. But that didn't happen. So what about this deal? Kyrie-Irving goes to Boston. What kind of grade would you give Boston on that? Right now, as they approach half season, it's pretty easy. They get an A+. There we go, A+ all over. Because Irving's averaging the same 25 points he averaged in Cleveland, almost shooting the same from the field, like 49%, 40 on three-pointers. The Celtics have lost only 10 games going into their game with the Cavs. So that's really worked out for them. So how about the Cavs? Well, you know what you get right here. It's a big INC. It's incomplete. And that is going to stay that way for a while, not just because we haven't seen Isaiah Thomas play, because he's been recovering from the hip surgery, but also there's other parts of the deal. You know, the Cavaliers did add Jay Crowder, and Jay Crowder's really, he struggled some with the Cavs to fit in. I anticipate actually he will play better once he's out there on the floor with Isaiah Thomas. Anton Zizic is a big center they brought in. He's a project. And then there's one other part of the deal that we won't know about till end of the season, and that is that they also picked up Brooklyn's first-round pick. Now, the Cavs thought at the time of the trade this could be a top 3 or top 5 pick, but Brooklyn has proven to be a rather mediocre team. Bad news for the Cavs. They wanted a really awful team. As I speak right now, the Nets are 14-23. I mean, still probably a top 10 pick or something like that, but maybe not as high as the Cavs would have hoped. So, you know, when you kind of go with evaluating trades, it's hard to know. Because in the end, everything about the Cavaliers begins in the middle of April when the playoffs start. If Isaiah Thomas is fully healthy by then and really contributing, and the Cavs go deep in the playoffs, hey, it's a terrific trade. But, you know, I still have to admit, I go back and look at it. I try to crawl into Kobe Altman's shoes and, frankly, into his computer and everything else that he was looking at when Irving walked in and demanded the deal. And Kobe Altman had just taken over for David Griffin as a general manager. And this was his first big trade. I think he actually made some pretty good moves here.